All right, folks, Jose Rodriguez back again. We're going to talk a little bit about a very simple question that was asked. And again, the reason it was asked is because there is some confusion behind it. Like, what paper should I use for my nozzle checks? What kind of paper should I use to align my print head? What kind of paper should I use to internally calibrate something like the Pro 1000? Well, for your nozzle checks that you're just going to casually look at and not, examine with a loop, you can just use plain paper, okay? If you want to really look at the results, especially on a Canon Pro 100, Pro 10, Pro 1 type of nozzle check, which looks more like this. I knew I had it over here. All you see is maybe like a 5/8 of an inch wide band. How do you know what's missing? This paper has a tendency to wick ink a little bit. So the droplets of ink will sort of spread a little bit. And if there's even one single nozzle missing, you probably will not notice it. If you want to do a nozzle check and really take your time examining it, you really should print it on glossy paper. It has a tendency to spread a lot less. And you take a loop and you look for any kind of missing lines. What you got here is basically lines of dots. Each line corresponds to one nozzle on your print head. So you're looking for that. You're not looking for wide areas such as here. There's a bit of maybe like a 1/16 of an inch wide area missing. Yeah, that's pretty obvious. But if you're missing just one nozzle, you're not going to be able to see it. And if you keep printing with that nozzle not printing, it's going to burn out that nozzle because it will overheat. So glossy paper will allow you to more clearly see your results. Now, on a printer such as this, that doesn't create that type of nozzle check, this is clearly visible even in this cheap type of paper. So the Pro 1000, yeah, you can use regular paper for your nozzle checks. But then when you do your head alignment, unlike me, I should have done that. You should use glossy paper because it is looking for slight differences in the advance versus amount of ink laid. So it's going to measure those advances by detecting little tiny bands. And again, they tend to spread a little bit, the ink does on this paper. So I should have used glossy paper for that. Of course, for your internal calibration, you need to use a paper that you're going to be pretty much currently using from now on. Okay, if you switch to another paper, you can do another internal calibration. So for nozzle checks, depending on the printer, this one doesn't require glossy paper, but the Pro 100, Pro 1, Pro 10, yeah, you should use some kind of luster or glossy paper so you can easily detect any missing nozzles. Head alignments, glossy paper. Yes, that's the best one for the internal sensors to be able to determine and detect any kind of errors in alignment and then apply a correction. Now, for your internal calibrations, obviously, the correct paper should be the one that you're about to use. And it doesn't matter what brand it is. Okay, folks? You can use that brand, internally calibrate your printer, and then from that point on, you can continue to use that brand of paper. And at that point, if you choose to create a profile, so much the better because your output will be factory level. Okay? So it does make a difference what papers you use for these simple operations. Often, if you just want to run a nozzle check just to sort of exercise your printer, and you're not really worried at that point about whether you're printing 100% or not, then you can just use plain paper. But when you're actually performing a proper nozzle check, you should use a glossy or luster paper. Okay? And then examine it very carefully. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. And don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. And until the next time, as always, happy printing, everybody. Bye-bye.